Ano ai me ke aloha e na hulu manuli ke ole. Uvau no o Pōkā Laenui, he Hawaii au. I've been asked to speak for 5 minutes on the history, somewhat of the history, but on my position with regards to Hawaiian sovereignty. I have chosen instead to speak more on a process to bring us to the position of Hawaiian sovereignty. As I think of 5 minutes, I'm asking myself, where do we begin? I could begin 40 years ago when I was prosecuted for refusing to salute that American flag, which has no business standing in this room at the present time, especially when we discuss this important issue while I was in the U.S. Air Force. Or I could go back to 35 years ago when we challenged the courts to have jurisdiction over one of our own kind, Wilfred Kala'auala Pulava, when we said that the court had no jurisdiction to impose its laws, its foreign laws, upon us, Hawaiian nationals. Or I could go back 20 years ago when many of you may recall Hui na Awau. And from Hui na Awau, we converted into the Sovereignty Advisory Commission, and from there we converted into the Hawaiian Sovereignty Advisory Council, and from there it was a Hawaiian Sovereignty Elections Council, where we went out to all of the communities that we could find in Hawaii. We went off to America, and wherever we could find Native Hawaiians, we presented with them the question, what shall we do with regards to the issue of Hawaiian sovereignty? And essentially what was said was enough. Enough self-proclaimed kings and queens, regents, and other manufactured titles of royalty or claimants to a throne. Let's elect representatives to assemble, propose governmental forms, and present it to the people for ratification. A pono process. In August 1996, the native Hawaiian people were asked if they wanted such a process to take place. The native Hawaiian vote resulted in 22,294, or 73%, saying yes, and 8,129, or 27%, saying no. Following through. And so it came to pass that farmers, fisherfolk, social workers, teachers, public and business administrators, carpenters, builders, engineers, health and legal professionals, language experts, cultural experts, artists, kupuna and mo'opuna were elected as delegates. On July 31st, 1999, 79 delegates duly elected by Native Hawaiians across Hawaii and the rest of the world. None selected by self-proclaimed titles or genealogy, but through an open process limited to those of the indigenous blood of Hawaii, regardless of citizenship, of religion, of place of residence, gathered at Iolani Palace to be sworn into office to fulfill a sacred obligation to the people. They met numerous times, argued, fought, compared models, some even died, and concluded to submit 2 proposals for governance: independence from the United States and integration into the U.S. in federal recognition. But alas, holders of the financial purse strings and political powers refused to continue financing the process. OHA and the state legislature blocked any further funding, leaving the process in limbo. The Native Hawaiian Convention has been unable to conclude its work and present to the people its 2 proposals, and then reared the head of the Akaka Bill. And we were left deserted, so that attention started paying attention to the integrationist approach and not to a process of fairness by which our people could select what they wanted. The Native Hawaiian Convention, which I'm currently the chairperson of, has never adjourned sine die. When we went out to the public, we made a promise to them that you folks vote for your representatives, let your representatives present to you what models you want, and from there you can choose. Rather than the never-ending discussion of who is to be king, who is to be queen, are we to be integrated, are we to be independent, or what? And we had people from the whole spectrum of that argument gather in convention. and yet we had the rug pulled out from under us. And so now we are here again. And we have been here so many different times. We talk about a pono process. Someone asked me on my radio show, Pōkā, if they decide for integration, or if they decide in a outcome that you are against, will you support the outcome or not? I will have to support the outcome because that is what it's all about. It has to be pono. That doesn't mean that I'm going to shut my mouth and not continue to advocate for independence because that's where I am at. But we need to respect the people. We need to respect the process. And that's what it's all about. It's not a question of let's take a vote. Do you support one position or another position? No. What do the people want? And how can we put our best minds together and present to them exactly that? And let the process unroll. That is what we promised the people back in 1993, 1994, all during that process of time. I see my time is up, and I must respect that time. But I thank you very much for the opportunity to gather here, to engage in this discussion, to kick it off again, and let's not forget what the promises were made by Paea Kamehameha as well as Kauikeaouli. Ua mau ke ea o ka ʻāina I ka pono. The root of our nation building has to be in pono. If it's not, we did. Thank you very much. Aloha.